Believe it or not, but this school got closed down because dozens of students claimed they saw the same ghost. Screams echoed through the hallways. Children collapsed in terror, and teachers couldn't explain what was happening. Soon, the entire town was talking about what many called the most convincing haunting in Southeast Asia. Kelantan in northeastern Malaysia is a place where tradition and folklore live alongside modern life. Dense forests press against quiet towns, and local legends of spirits are more than just stories. They are part of the culture. From ghostly figures that roam all night to spirits said to linger in abandoned buildings. These tales are taught from a young age, whispered on the streets and carried home by every student. Yet even in a place steeped in superstition, the events at SK Pangkalan in 2016 shocked everyone who heard about them. What was a normal school day would quickly descend into chaos, leaving dozens of students traumatized, teachers bewildered, and the entire community questioning what they were taught they knew about the spirit world. It all began around mid-morning. The classrooms were quiet, the sun casting warm patterns across the wooden desks. Students were focused on their lessons, or so it seemed. Then, in one classroom, a girl suddenly gasped and clutched her chest. She told her teacher she felt something, a presence, she said, looming behind her, dark, cold, and overwhelming. Before anyone could respond, she screamed. A raw, piercing sound that echoed through the empty corridors, startling everyone in the building. Her classmates froze. Some covered their faces, some whispered, confused and terrified. And then it spread. Another girl began crying uncontrollably, and the third girl collapsed. Even a boy who had been standing outside the classroom fell to the floor, trembling and gasping. The students began murmuring the same word over and over. Hitam, hitam, the Malaysian word for black. It was as though their terror was contagious, feeding on itself. The sound of children screaming, the clatter of falling desks, and the faint whispers of that word created a chaos that could not be contained. As panic swept through the school, multiple students reported seeing a figure. Not just a shadow, not just a trick of the light, but a tall, dark humanoid shape at the end of the hallway. Its edges were blurred, but its presence was undeniable. Teachers reported strange sensations in the air, sudden drops in temperature, doors that slammed shut on their own, flickering lights as if someone or something was moving unseen. The stories were consistent across different classrooms. Different groups of students in different parts of the building described the same figure, a featureless black silent and watching spirit. It was a mass observation that defied logical explanation, and for many, it was terrifyingly real. The panic did not subside. Students who had witnessed the shadow reported intense feelings of being followed, chills running down their spines, and a strange pressure in their chest. Some say they could hear faint footsteps echoing behind them in the empty hallways. Others claim to hear whispers, indecipherable words that have seemed to come from nowhere. Teachers attempted to maintain order, but their efforts were in vain. Classrooms became chaos. Students huddled together, crying, screaming, and trembling. The phones rang constantly as parents were called to come immediately. The school, once a place of learning, had totally transformed into a scene of mass terror. With no clear way to restore order, the school administration made an unprecedented decision. They closed the entire school for several days. And yes, this really happened. Religious authorities were brought in to perform purification rituals. Monks and imams walked through every corridor, chanting prayers, sprinkling holy water, and performing rites to calm the restless presence. Teachers reported that, even during the rituals, strange phenomena continued. Doors would open and close on their own. Cold gusts would pass through empty rooms. Shadows flickered at the edges of vision. In Kelantanese folklore, spirits like the Hantu Penanggal and the Hantu Raya are known to appear in schools, homes, and forests. The Hantu Penanggal is often depicted as a floating female head with trailing organs, feeding on the living at night. The Hantu Raya, by contrast, is a shadowy dark figure that can appear in broad daylight, terrifying those who encounter it. These spirits are believed to induce fear, dizziness, fainting, and even physical collapse, symptoms that match the experience reported by the students. While skeptics argue that mass hysteria or psychological contagion could explain the events, the consistency, details, and intensity of the eyewitness accounts make this case particularly compelling. After the incident, students spoke about the experience in hushed tones. They described the presence that followed them as they walked the corridors. Footsteps echoed when the halls were empty. They felt watched, even in classrooms far from where the initial incident occurred. Many admitted they were too frightened to tell anyone at the time, fearing ridicule from teachers and classmates. But when dozens of students independently described nearly identical experiences, a pattern emerges that cannot be dismissed. The closure of the school attracted national attention. News outlets reported on the mass panic. Parents debated whether their children had imagined the events or whether something supernatural had truly walked those hallways. Teachers and administrators struggled to reconcile their rational understanding with the unexplainable phenomena they witnessed firsthand. Even weeks later, the students reported unease upon returning to the school. Many refused to enter certain classrooms. Some slept poorly, plagued by nightmares of the shadow figure. It was as though the memory of the dark figure had lingered in the very walls of the school. The Kelantan school haunting is a rare convergence of folklore, mass observation, and inexplicable events. It illustrates how deeply the cultural beliefs can shape human perception, particularly in communities where spirits and supernatural forces are part of the collective consciousness. Was it truly a ghost, a psychological contagion, or was it something that exists between our understanding of the physical and the supernatural? No definitive explanation exists, and perhaps that's why the story has endured. Today, the Kelantan school haunting remains one of the most cited real-life ghost cases in Southeast Asia. Dozens of students saw the same terrifying shadow, authorities intervened, religious rituals were performed, and for many, the question remains, what really walked the halls of that school? In that moment, folklore collided with reality, leaving a mark that would haunt the memories of those who witnessed it for the rest of their lives. The shadow figure may be gone, but the fear and the mystery remains.